So anyways, in terms of the Safe Baby campaign, those are the three primary components. We are going to be working with the Broward Healthy Start Coalition has social workers in our birthing hospitals. They will be working with moms and whoever the mom's significant other, or whether it be her extended family, baby's father, whomever, to talk about these issues and talk about the fact that it is normal for a child to cry. It is normal for an adult caregiver to be frustrated by that baby's crying. And that, you know, what we're recommending in terms of, you know, if you can't soothe that child any other way, put that child in a safe place and allow that child to cry, and eventually they will either fall asleep or stop on their own. The other thing is where is that safe place? And we've talked a lot about safe sleeping, and really safe sleeping is to have that child sleep on their back in a place that has what we're talking about in terms of cribs or a bassinet is a mattress that has a firm, tight-fitting sheet on it. We are recommending now that all these bumper pads, toys, pillows, all these beautiful things that we've wanted to put in cribs to make them look so beautiful and comfortable and soft and inviting has really been the cause of many deaths, unfortunately, that the children, you know, are asphyxiated. They get snuggled into those bumper pads or a soft, fluffy toy or pillow, and especially if they're on their stomachs, they scoot. If you've ever been around small children, you know you'll put them down, and if you put them on their tummy, they will scoot, and they'll oftentimes end up with their heads in the corner of the crib, stuck in those bumpers and pillows and fluffy animals. So we're saying place a child on the back and remove all of those things other than a tight-fitting sheet. If the child, you feel that the child is going to be chilled, then to make sure that you place them at the lower part of the crib, and that you make sure that you have the blanket underneath their arms, and that it's also tucked into the crib at the bottom on the side, so that it's very snug.
Well, it did break my heart when I had the beautiful, you know, got the bed set, and for those parents out there, one little tip: I took the quilt and I hung it on the wall above the crib so that she could, you know, so that it still decorated the room, but it wouldn't be a danger to my daughter. And wrapping well, of course, in the early days, the swaddling comes in handy, but I
Correct.
also, all of her pajamas are long-sleeved, and at the early days were the footed pajamas, so that I felt comfortable that she would be warm. And you know, to this day, she still doesn't like a blanket. I mean, even now, she doesn't like a blanket, so I still make sure her pajamas are warm enough.
Well, here
so that I won't feel bad.
Here in Florida, a lot of times, you know, it's not so much that we're concerned that the child's chilled, but you know, of course, up north, people are very concerned about it.
I don't know. Up north, you have heat. Down here, you got the air conditioning blasting all the time.
I know my kids
worry about that.
slept in their diapers a lot, so I guess it depends on the time of the year. But anyway, in terms of that campaign, so we will be educating the parents in the hospitals as well as the social workers out in the community who do home visits through the Healthy Start Coalition as well.
I want to bring Cassandra in here, because when you talk about healthy sleep, we have our Cribs for Kids program. Absolutely. That Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies has been running for several years now, funded in part by the Children's Services Council.
Thank you. Thank you for saving lives. Actually, I've had the pleasure, well, I don't know if it's so much the pleasure, but I'm on the outside sometimes of the Cribs for Kids program and inside, so I see both sides, because I actually do home visits sometimes, and I do the education portion of it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to work on, is educating the community, because a lot of times I'll find when we go out there, some of the moms know they have to put their child in a crib. They know to put the baby on the back. What happens is sometimes they'll see in a hospital that the nurse didn't do that, And then so they go home and they're like, but my nurse didn't put my baby in the back. And I'm like, you have to understand, these nurses are skilled. They know what they're doing, and it's probably one nurse to your baby. So they're paying attention to temperature, monitoring your baby. You don't want to copy that. So trying to educate them on that aspect of it is one of the things we're doing with Cribs for Kids. And then, of course, teaching them, you know, back to sleep, the ABCs, you know, always alone on the back in a crib. So if they can remember that, just always put me on my back to sleep. What I've seen also is some cultures, it's hard to educate people when they already have something set in their mind. And a lot of times, especially with younger moms, they have, you know, the grandma is an expert, and then everybody's an expert in the family. So when you come in and try to teach something that's not of the norm, it's like you're going against the family. And some of the grandmas are like, no, I put you to bed on your tummy, you know, it's okay, and you lived. And I'm like, oh no, you know, so this is what's happening in our community.
Sometimes it is amazing to think that we're all still alive.
We made it,
you know.
We made it.
We didn't have car seats, but
the rate was 1.5 per thousand SIDS death. So when they put them on their back to sleep, it dropped to 0.8 per thousand.
Wow.
So that means, you know, the other 999 and a half lived.
Right.
So, but even a rate of 1.5 per thousand is unacceptably high.
Right.
Now, if this grandmother had 2,000 children, she could say, and every one of them lived, but she only had probably maybe half a dozen or so. You know, so she doesn't have statistical significance.
Exactly.
You know, to be a nerd, but it's the truth. I mean, it's
No,
people
it's
have
true.
a small number
small
idea
sample.
in their mind, and it's not accurate.
Absolutely.
And also for a lot of those, if they thought about it, at least I know for my grandparents, they lost a lot of kids. I just lost my father. He was one of 5 children, but he and his sister were the only ones who made it to adulthood. The others all died in young age. So they don't always think about how many were lost along the way and why.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to back up what Donna said, the caregivers play an important role. You know, you're leaving your children with the grandmas, and I know they have the best intentions. Grandmas know best, I know. But it's kind of hard to change their minds sometimes until you come to the home and you teach them. You know, because you can have all these stats. Grandmas don't like stats. They don't really care. So it's when you show them, you know, visual works a lot. So when we have, and I have Michelle Bernard, which is my program coordinator for Cribs for Kids, she goes in the home and actually teaches them, you know, how, first of all, let me tell you the Cribs program, how it works, and I forgot to tell you that. A lot of the moms in Broward County that don't have a safe space to put their baby to sleep once they're released from the hospital, or even prior. If you know for a fact, you know, you're not gonna have a baby shower, you're not gonna be able to afford this crib, just please give us a call. We're, you know, 954-765-0550, and it's the Cribs for Kids program. And what we do is we'll take the referral in from 32 weeks, because by then we can tell if the mom's not gonna be able to attain that crib. And then we actually not only provide you with the pack and play, it is a regular size pack and play, we provide you with the education. And that's the important part of the program, because you can't just get a crib from us. And I know some people just want the crib, they don't want to hear what you're saying, but it's a bonus. The education, I mean, some people pay a lot for that. So we're actually going into the home, we set up the crib for you, we teach you everything about it, and we teach you how to actually, you know, make sure that the baby is safely put to bed. And a lot of moms think, you know, I'm gonna just fall asleep with the baby a little bit, and while I'm breastfeeding, it's okay to put the baby in a crib after. Well, that's probably one of those times that it's most dangerous, because the mom is sleepy and the baby falls asleep, and then, you know, you end up suffocating the baby at that time. So if you have the crib, please use it, because I've seen that also. They just have it there and it's decorated, and it's like, put the baby in it. So, and we also provide them with a crib sheet. And like Donna said, it should be tucked under completely. Nothing else should be in that crib, obviously. And we also provide them with pacifiers. And, you know, some studies, I don't know, I'm sure the doctor knows more about this study, but you can use the pacifier for the baby, and actually it's been shown to reduce SIDS, because you can, when they're falling asleep, you put the pacifier in there. Please don't put the pacifier after the baby is sleeping, just so it can be somewhere, you know. It's been proven it helps them breathe better at night. And of course, putting the baby on its back to sleep, some of the moms are like, oh, they fall asleep longer when you put them on their tummy. And it's like, no, that's not good. You don't want your baby to sleep 15 hours. You know, you actually want to check on them. You want them to wake up. You want them to, you know, kind of wiggle and do some things. That's when you know they're breathing. That's when you know they're comfortable. That's when you know they're there. So of course, for the first year, we also promote room sharing, not bed sharing. And there is a difference because people are like, oh, you told us we can have her in the room, not on your bed. So you put the baby next to you, your bed is here and the baby is here, and actually, you know, research shows that the baby actually starts picking up how the mom is breathing, and it has this routine when it's sleeping in the same room as the mom. So we want you to share a room up to 1 year, but not share a bed. So that's very important also.
And can you help for the I'm thinking of some of the moms out there who may have mothers, you know, grandma of the baby, who they are afraid to give this instruction to. Can you come in and help them teach grandma?
We actually promote that. When we have our group sessions, sometimes we have group sessions because we have so many moms, we can't get into their homes individually. So we have one group session set up when we have 3 a month. And they can bring their grandma, their auntie, their cousins, everybody that's gonna have any part of taking care of this baby. Because like I said, that's one of the problems, and some cultures are different, and we try to be sensitive to each culture because some cultures think ruffles are the way to go inside the baby's crib and put them in their belly. So if you have grandma in there and we have a little play doll, if you will, let's see how the baby looks when you're putting it to sleep this way and then see this way. I mean, isn't it harder to breathe when you're on your tummy? And when you do that, like I said, the visual works better for grandmas. And we just have to keep in mind that, everybody's different and we have to respect their old ways. However, we can change, one person at a time.
One of the things...
Also, I wanted to just touch on the pacifier. The Academy of Pediatrics recommends that you use a pacifier after 2 weeks, because they can interfere with breastfeeding initially. So it's probably wait a couple weeks, make sure the breastfeeding is going very well, and then you can start a pacifier. Everything else was all good.
I knew it. I just had one more thing. Also with the cribs, if you find that I've seen that a couple of times also. People are like, well, my cousin will give me a crib she had, or so and so had a crib and I can use that later. The thing is, we're not, because a lot of times they're offended by that too. If you tell your cousin no, you don't want their crib. What you want to make sure is that that crib wasn't recalled. That's one of the things that's important. Check on it. You want to check at the condition of the crib, because some people have parts that are broken and they're passing it on. You don't want to give that baby that crib. You don't want to put your baby in that crib.
That's really important. I can't believe how fast this time has flown by. I have to wrap it up. So educating parents about direct actions they can take to protect their babies is an important step in dealing with the preventable death or injury of a baby. I'd like to thank Dr. John Wright, Cassandra Sands, and Donna Sogigian for this informative discussion on how to keep babies safe. I've been your host, Cindy Ehrenberg-Seltzer, President, CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. For copies of this program or any other episode of Future First, please call us at 954-377-1000 or visit www.cscbroward.org. And remember to join us next time on Future First, Focus on Broward's Children.